Many of you are probably familiar with Alyssa Milano either because she's a famous actress or because she's one of the most vocal anti-Trump personalities on Twitter. Recently, she called on her fans to engage in a 7-minute collective meditative prayer to remove the president, and she was mocked by conservatives for it. She fired back, saying, "These are the people who believe in thoughts and prayers, and they're making fun of my prayer, and here I am as somebody who used to be what, I guess the liberals are gone, but whatever I am, we used to not do this." Right? So when I grew up Catholic for a brief period, and then for a lot of reasons eventually became atheist and then agnostic, and now I have my own weird belief system. But for the most part, I'm not a religious person. And most of the people I grew up with, not religious either. In fact, many of them are atheists. They're not spiritual. They don't believe in hippy-dippy new wave nonsense. They don't do collective meditative yoga chants. So where do I fall in this weird political battle? The political homeless is probably people like me. There's more of us than you realize. So let me explain something. I want to read this story to you about what Alyssa Milano thinks is going to do to impeach Trump, a yoga chant. And I want to talk to you why I think it's insane and ineffective, but it also proves one important factor. We've talked about how the left is engaging in this new kind of religion, this new pseudo-religion, be it intersectionality or otherwise. But we can see here the left literally embracing the concept of collective meditative prayer, which is kind of not, it's weird. The left doesn't do this. I mean, whenever there's a major, tragedy and the right says thoughts and prayers, the left mocks them for what are prayers going to do? Now they're literally defending the idea of doing prayer to get rid of Trump. I'm sorry, man. Look, I know it's Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas, everybody, and to everybody else, Happy holidays, whatever holiday you may be celebrating. Many of you probably believe in the power of prayer, and that's okay. And it's okay that Alyssa Milano does as well. I'm just confused as to how the left is now embracing pseudo-religious prayer as if it's going to get rid of the president. See, I've never been a big fan of that. My most direct criticism is, Alyssa, if you want to get rid of Donald Trump, tell your followers to go fundraise for some Democrats. Don't tell them to do yoga. It's the weirdest thing. Let me read you this story, okay? So this is from the Pluralist. They say, Alyssa Milano calls on followers to impeach Trump with yoga chant. It backfires. Well, I don't want to say it backfires. Conservatives just made fun of her for it, and then she fired back. They say Milano, a TV actress turned feminist activist, announced Saturday that she would start chanting for 7 minutes a day with the goal of manifesting a change of guard in Washington. She said her mantra would be believe in believing. The impossible is possible. Join me, she urged her 3.7 million Twitter followers. We're stronger together. On Sunday, Milano clarified that she had not yet commenced chanting Trump out of office, but she promised to start Monday and offered specific instructions on how fans could support her. Oh, wow, interesting. Upon waking, lay in Shavasana, look it up. Set your alarm for 7 minutes, she said, referring to the corpse pose in yoga, which basically involves a practitioner lying motionless on their back. After uttering the supposedly reality-altering mantra, she advised, adding, "We'd like to create a changing of the guard." Milano did not name Trump or specify what a change of the guard would look like, but she has been a vocal critic of the president, and her call for chanting came after lawmakers left Washington for holiday break on Friday, with no agreement over how they will handle the Senate trial to consider his impeachment charges in January. Trump stands little chance of being convicted and removed. Yeah, we get all this, okay? Trump's not gonna be convicted by the Senate. So I suppose when you have literally nothing left to do, when you have no strategy, when you're failing, when the economy is booming, the best thing you could do is lie on your back with your hands together and pray that Donald Trump will be removed from office. But you know what? I'll tell you this. There are probably a lot of religious people who might think it's funny, but I'll actually give it to Alyssa Milano when she criticized Christian conservatives who criticized her for talking about the power of prayer. Personally, I think if you're going to spend your days lying on your back praying that Donald Trump will go away, Donald Trump's not going to go away. It's not how it's going to work. I've never been maybe it's offensive to a lot of religious people. I don't think prayer did it. I don't think it's going to do anything. I think you're literally doing nothing, just laying on your back and crossing your fingers and asking the wind to get rid of the president. It's funny to me how many followers she has, and she's mobilizing them to literally wake up and then go on the floor laying on their back and chanting how they don't want the president instead of literally doing something about it. In fact, if she tweeted, "Don't forget to vote," she'd be more likely to get rid of the president. You know what, man? Whatever it is that I am, You know, this 90s, 2000s Democrat that was kind of like secular and didn't believe in the power of astrology or meditative prayer and weird pseudo religions and whatever dogma they're doing. They took over. You know, we are seeing now the left is becoming religious. But it's a weird pseudo religion. They have no belief structure. Like, what does it mean to lay down in Shavasana? Shavasana. Let's read a little bit more. Milano, who launched the Me Too movement with a tweet in 2017, was widely ridiculed for her latest attempt to repeat that feat of progressive organizing. Fellow actress and conservative influencer Mindy Robinson joked, Milano seemed to have confused Charmed, the WB show about sister witches, in which she once starred, with reality. Some commentators suggested that Milano tried chanting alternative mantras like MAGA or Trump 2020. Others took Milano's ties to the dark arts more seriously, accusing her of being a witch, telling her to go to church. As following her failed sex strike to combat abortion restrictions in May, Milano drew mockery even from some sympathetic liberals. Imran Siddiqui, an activist for the Council on American Islamic Relations, implied that her latest campaign was counterproductive, tweeting, "We're all definitely going to be locked in camps." Wait, what? These people are scary crazy, if you ask me. Siddiqui also trolled Milano with a meme of Kevin Garnett's declaration after winning the 2008 NBA championship with the Boston Celtics, "Anything is possible." However, comedian and LGBT activist Dana Goldberg came to Milano's defense, suggesting her yoga advocacy was no different than Christians offering thoughts and prayers following mass shootings. Milano agreed, saying, "Exactly, but I don't mind. They mock me for everything. They certainly won't pierce my armor by mocking my faith." I can respect that you have faith. I can respect that you have some weird pseudo middle-class white woman religion. No, I'm not trying to rag on white people, but let's be honest. Like, wealthy white progressive females are pretty much the majority of the progressive movement, and they have this weird amalgam of strange Eastern beliefs and crystals and whatnot. And she's literally telling people that instead of going out and doing something that might change the course of politics, to literally lie on their back and just wish for it. Okay, I'll tell you what. You do that. And I will say this, to be fair, there's a big difference between like established faith structures, belief in an actual deity, and whatever pseudo amalgam she has. But I'm going to be honest, I don't put a lot of weight in any of these theistic religions. My belief structure is very, very, personal. And has nothing to do with these books that were written a long time ago. Regardless of whether it's a new age hippy-dippy lay on your back and pray the Trump away, or, a 2,000-year-old book about, a carpenter or whatever. No, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to either. I'm not. I think people should be allowed to believe whatever they want. I just think, for all practical reasons, this is not going to actually do anything. And I think I'm correct. I'm pretty sure I am. Milano has previously spoken about how yoga and meditation help her cope with anxiety, including regarding the threat of gun violence. She has said her peace of mind is also enhanced by keeping 2 guns at home. Is that true? Really? That seems odd. So anyway, here's what happens. She tweets this. I need your help manifesting a change of guard, which, we went through that already. Join me, way up, lay on the ground, believe in believing anything is possible. She said conservative right-wing media bashing meditative collective prayer is what's hilarious. Thoughts and prayers, fake Christians. Thoughts and prayers. Christians against Trump. Alyssa, are you a Christian? Because I don't think laying on your back in a yoga pose and meditating to get rid of Trump is I don't think that's any religion. And I'm not trying to be mean. I mean this literally. I think actual, Hare Krishnas or Buddhists and whoever else does yoga. I'm not entirely sure. Yoga is like a deep practice. Actually, let me tell you this too. I know I knew a guy who was Hare Krishna. And he was moderately offended by this wealthy leftist progressive yoga interpretation, because yoga is like a spiritual practice that includes more than just doing poses, which is exercise for middle class white women. He was yoga is like a religious practice. It's a spiritual practice that's been kind of appropriated, and he was offended by it. I'm like, you know what, man? People can do whatever they want. It's America, right? But I don't think she's actually talking about a legitimate religion. I think she just has a hippy-dippy New Age belief. But here's the thing. First of all, the Daily Wire is owned by Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is an Orthodox Jew. It's not fake Christians. He's Jewish anyway. But it's also, I think it's, I will say, I think there is a fair point in trying to make fun of her when she's talking about meditative collective prayer, right? Conservative right-wing media. But here's what I really want to say, okay? Let me just wrap this up with this. Okay. I do not believe in the power of prayer. I'm not religious. I follow no theistic belief structure. And I love the fact that I apparently don't exist. Because the only people who, of course, the only people who would ever criticize Alyssa Milano are people who are right-wing Christians, right? You know, not Ben Shapiro. I mean, it's written by Hank Berrien. I don't know if he's Jewish or not, because there are Christians who work for the Daily Wire. But first of all, that's the Daily Wire. That's Jewish. So the immediate assumption that they're conservative Christians is wrong. Calling it conservative right-wing media, sure, I guess, but they're not Christians. Well, I guess some of them are. Anyway, the point is, does she think everyone on the left believes her weird pseudo-hippie spiritual BS? Like, what? You know what, man? When I talk about the politically homeless, you know what I think is really happening? I gotta admit, I think the rational, like old school liberal types like me have just tuned everything out. And there's probably a lot of them. I'd be willing to bet the overwhelming majority of people on the left would look at her like she's nuts. They're just not saying anything. So the most vocal people are these, you know, I'm not trying to be mean, but this is weird hippy dippy nonsense, crystal rubbing meditative weirdness that doesn't speak to the majority of people who are left leaning, who are secular. Now, I can respect your right to believe that, you know, your yoga meditation chant might actually impact the election. I'm going to go ahead and say it's not, okay? But where are the other people like me who are going to call this out? Is it really just two factions of like the religious right of Christians and Orthodox Jews, and then the religious left of weird hippy dippy spiritual astrology, meditation, yoga, whatever? You know what, man? This is why I've lost. This is why I laugh about everything. Let me tell you. You guys know that I've said over and over again when Donald Trump got elected, I just laughed. I just laughed a whole lot. I didn't vote for the guy, and you guys know that, and I laughed when he won. I won because of people like Alyssa. I laughed because of people like Alyssa Milano, because of this weird, snooty, elitist, arrogant attitude about how much smarter and better they are than everyone, and how they cheated Bernie Sanders and they got some comeuppance. Donald Trump won. It was funny. But I'll tell you why I also laugh, because I feel like I'm not even a part of this system anymore. You know, whatever it is that I am politically, it doesn't exist. I'm like the only one. You know, okay, it's not true. I mean, you guys watching obviously agree with me on a lot of things, so you probably feel similarly. But where are all like the center lefty types who were very much for Democrats, but not, you know, super extreme and, you know, not very religious, kind of secular? They're all gone. Now you've got Colbert just like, I used to love Stephen Colbert. Now he just says whatever he has to say. And it's like, are you serious, dude? You're just regurgitating talking points from these weirdos. And you look at John Oliver, who just makes, you know, fake content for the sake of getting clicks and views and stuff. And it's all the same. And now it seems like, I guess there's still Bill Maher. I'd be willing to bet Bill Maher will call out this kind of stuff. I'm glad he exists, even though he's got Trump derangement syndrome. What happened to the regular people? Maybe it's just that it's rare for someone of my, you know, political position to actually be as vocal and to pay attention. Maybe I'm just, maybe unfortunately the old school social liberal types, the old Democrats, are just a dying breed. And we're going to have to contend with the fact that the left is now being dominated by people like Alyssa Milano, who will believe, without evidence, that Brett Kavanaugh did something wrong, but then, you know, simultaneously demand that Donald Trump be impeached by laying on your back and wishing for it. Think about the world we live in. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. You may be religious, you may be spiritual, you may believe in prayer and all that, and by all means, more power to you, more power to her, but I'm going to tell you my perspective. She's going to go to a Brett Kavanaugh hearing where there's literally no evidence the guy did anything wrong and, like, demand he be removed. And then she's going to go home, lay on her back, and pray that Donald Trump no longer be president. Well, I don't know if you prayed last time, it didn't work, but, like, this shows me that there is this inherent worldview based on a lack of facts and truth. If she's willing to believe something without evidence, I'm not surprised she's willing to believe laying on her back with, you know, her hands folded, wishing for the removal of Trump would actually result in something. Like, she believes all this. So I'll tell you what, man, here's your opportunity. I'm pretty sure she's extremely wealthy. And you know what, I will give some credit to her. I will defend her a bit. I am really, really annoyed by how, like, there's a lot of people who criticize her who will say things like she's a has-been and doesn't act anymore. She absolutely does. It's so dumb that people are like, just because your hit TV show Charmed doesn't, you know, was remade means you're not doing acting anymore. It's like, what are you talking about? She's like directing Netflix stuff. So it's like, you gotta be careful with that because it looks really petty and I can't stand it. I don't care who or what, you know, I don't care who she is, what her career is. If she has an idea, we'll talk about her ideas. You want to belittle her. Don't try and target her career. It's nothing to do with her arguments. So I'll give her that defense, right? I think her ideas are kooky. I think she's new age hippy dippy nonsense, and I think she believes fake things. Now, she has done some principled things before, like calling out. Didn't she call out that woman? I don't even remember her name anymore. There was some woman who was Asia Argento. She was accused. She was Me Too'd by some like young guy, and so she called her out and said we can't have that, and I respect that. So I don't think Alyssa Milano. I think she does have some principle, and integrity within her. I mostly just think she believes nonsense without evidence. So here's your opportunity, right? She's willing to believe that Brett Kavanaugh did wrong with no proof, and she's willing to believe that laying on her back and praying Trump away will work. Man, you know what I recommend? Sell her some snake oil. Make yourself $1 million. Go to her and tell her that snake oil is magic. It's a spiritual cure, and you know what? If you take some of that snake oil and you rub it on your hands and put it under your armpits, it will amplify your meditative powers and help you remove Donald Trump. I'm kidding. Don't do that. I'm just saying, man, we got a serious problem with people. It's not just the left, but it tends to be right now for whatever reason. They kind of believe insane nonsense. Look, man, there was no evidence against Brett Kavanaugh, just conjecture, and no one could corroborate any of it. And she still comes out and shows, I'll tell you what, man, I don't believe in the power of prayer. So you want to make fun of fake Christians or whatever okay, make fun of me. Like, by all means. I mean it seriously. I'm criticizing you. I think your ideas are nuts. Please stop pointing the finger at the Orthodox Jewish website and calling them Christians, and talk about the secular liberal types like me who think you're a new age hippy dippy nonsense, and what you're doing is not going to actually change anything. In fact, this is counterproductive. Tell your followers to go canvass. Tell your followers to go campaign. Literally telling people to lay on their backs and do nothing and wish for Trump to leave. It's not gonna. Okay, I'm done. You get the point. You know what? Merry Christmas, everybody. Maybe I'll see you at 4 p.m. Thanks for hanging out.